Below this is a set of filters. You can think of filters as a way that Drupal will process the content of this input as it's being displayed. This is a list of all of the filters available, and the checkboxes indicate that the filters are turned on. The first filter that's turned on is Limit Allowed HTML Tags and Correct Faulty HTML. Now if we scroll down, we have some configuration for this filter. If we disabled the filter, the configuration would also disappear. So let's turn it back on. And this shows a list of HTML tags and also the attributes that those tags can use. So for example, for an A tag or anchor tag, you can use the attributes href or hreflang, but all other attributes will be stripped out before the content displays. Now the allowed HTML tags here, and if we scroll up, the buttons up here are connected. So if we added the underline tag here and we scroll down, and we looked at our allowed HTML tags, I'm going to go to the very end, it added the underline tag here for us. So this is a nice feature, but as you do some testing, you'll probably find that there are situations where you modify the buttons up here and it doesn't change this down here. So it's important that if you make any changes to the allowed HTML tags or to the buttons, that you double check the other place. For example, if we remove the underline tag here, it's not going to remove it from the buttons up here. Let's take a look at the other filters and talk about what they do. So display any HTML as plain text. We'll take any tags that are in the code and display it as plain text. So you'll see the brackets and the slashes and everything. Converting line breaks to HTML. We'll take any new lines in the text and convert it to HTML break and paragraph tags. Now when we have a WYSIWYG enabled, all the extra lines and spacing will be taken care of for us. So we don't need that filter for a WYSIWYG. There's a convert URLs into links. So if somebody placed a URL that started with HTTP or HTTPS, it would display the text still, but it would also convert it to a link, which is handy. And also it adds some configuration to allow us to display the maximum length of the URL that's displayed. I'll uncheck this. The Align Images filter says it uses the Data Align attribute on image tags to align images. Now, Data Align isn't an attribute that actually does anything on its own, but Drupal will look at it as it processes this content to display it, and it will be a trigger to add a CSS class and some HTML to cause an image to align. The captions work a similar way. It uses a custom attribute, data caption, in order to set the display of a caption. Restrict images to this site prevents using images that aren't hosted on the site. Correct faulty and chopped off HTML is already taken care of by the limit allowed HTML tags and correct faulty HTML. But if we didn't want to limit HTML tags, we could still use the faulty and chopped off HTML filter here. And then finally, we have track images uploaded via a text editor. In Drupal, there's a concept of managed and unmanaged files. An image is a file, and when it's uploaded, if it's managed, there will also be an entry in the database that will keep track of every place that that image is used. As long as the image is used somewhere, it will keep the image around, but as soon as the usages go to 0, you can set Drupal to remove those orphaned files. If files aren't managed, then they don't have a database entry and they just exist as a file without any tracking. By default, images uploaded here are managed or tracked.